We are grateful to our sponsors, Kelly Stafford with Stafford Tree Service, and also Black Cow Cow Manure. If you need your trees trimmed locally, remember Stafford Tree Service at staffordtreesvc.com. And please visit Black Cow Cow Manure, that's K-O-W. Remember, both of the contact details are in the description below. Hi, I'm Stan DeFreitas for the Ask Mr. Greenthumb gardening segments. Many times we get plants that are what I would call misnomers or misnamed. Now this is the asparagus fern, and when we call it a fern, it's not a fern. And it looks like a fern, I guess, with its delicate leaves, but it is not what we would typically think of in that group. It's in the asparagus family. Now I know all of us have eaten asparagus, and it's a third cousin twice removed. True asparagus, of course, is edible. This asparagus is not. This could be toxic to both you and your pet. It will come up with little red berries. Now, that's one of the reasons you know it's not a true fern, because true ferns are ancient plants that are started by spores. This, if you want to start it from seed, you'd actually take the little red seed that comes on it. It's about the size of a BB. You take that little seed and you could actually start it from that. Now, another way for them to start is people will dig the whole container up of this asparagus, or I should say foxtail fern, and just cut it into pieces. They'd probably cut it down the middle. You could take the whole plant out, and I would plant it and probably get 2 or 3 out of this particular one. But if you want your foxtail fern to be something that you can enjoy, and I said asparagus fern, it's in the same family as all the other asparagus ferns, so that would be a general name for the group. It is in the Asparagaceae family, and as we've said, some of those can be edible and some not. This would be in the not category. So if you've got that pet that likes to chew on everything from little seeds to foliage, it might not be the plant that you want in that particular area. Maybe you've got it in an area where your pet never gets to it, and then it might be fine. It can be used indoors and outdoors. Indoors, it needs a pretty good light source, means pretty near a bright window. If you have it outside, of course, they'll take pretty much full sun. They sometimes, I think, yellow out just a little bit if they're really getting hit by that western afternoon sun. But this plant has little, kind of a bulbous-like structure, kind of like a tuber. So it doesn't really need as much water as many of your indoor plants. For that reason, probably about once a week should be plenty on the water. And in fact, if you watered it all the time, let's say you put it where it's getting hit by a sprinkler head every day, it's probably going to get into some fungal and root rot problems. So remember that on where you plant it can make a difference in it surviving or thriving. So put it in that right place. I would make sure that you can use many different soils, but make sure it's a well-draining soil. So if it's got some perlite, some vermiculite, it's got some sand, some coarse sand, or maybe some small pebbles, you can do that. Now, someone recently told me that they put a few pebbles in the bottom to keep it from being blown over in the windstorm, and I can understand that. I know I heard from a fellow horticulturist who said, never, ever, ever, ever put rocks in the bottom. Baloney. Don't tell me what you can't do, because I've seen almost everything done, and all the rules you can make can be broken. So that's one of the reasons I don't usually come on here and say, oh, this is the gospel. Because there are many different ways to have success. It's just you have to know how much water your soil holds. If you pick that soil up and it's pretty heavy, and this one is, well, okay, as long as I know the water can drain through here, it's got pretty big pores, you can use different types of medium and still have success. As far as fertilizer, I might fertilize it in the spring or in the middle of summer. Wouldn't do much fertilization during the cooler months because the plant isn't going to be doing as much active growth. We mentioned the light levels, we mentioned the water. And I would say from time to time you'll dig the whole bunch up and you'll get your samurai sword out and do some divisions on them. But foxtail fern, it's interesting, it's attractive, it's got a pretty green, and I think it's one that you could use in your indoor patio, your porch. You could see that this one, I say you need to use your Wheaties. And also let me mention to you, if you want to buy Stan DeFreitas' complete guide to Florida gardening, let me hold it to you and show you that this is one you can get an autographed copy, which you can't always get at all the bookstores, and you can buy it through us. We'll put this up as well so you'll know how you can get your autographed copy of Stan DeFreitas' complete guide to Florida gardening, which should make you the green thumber in the neighborhood. Once again, we want to thank you for telling your neighbors and friends, your garden clubbers, all the folks that you love, that we love, that we appreciate each and every one of you for being there each week and making us the success that we are. Thank you so much.